Hey, Russell Hotels going live just for a couple minutes. You guys know how I do it. Yeah, this is the daily check-in. Yeah, normally on Monday we do it at 10 o'clock, but some stuff came up earlier today, and it couldn't be helped, right? So, uh, does it matter when we do it? Is it or is it if we do it? You know what I mean? So we are doing it. We're live on YouTube, live on LinkedIn. I got Tiffany. Tiffany is here every Monday with me, and she always has a topic that we're going to discuss. You know, she got a doozy today. She has a doozy of a topic today. So, so welcome, Tiffany. How are you today?
I'm good. Happy Monday. Doing
Happy
this.
Monday. Yes, 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 yes. So we do this daily check-in every Monday together. I do the daily check-in Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but Monday is devoted to myself as well as Miss Tiffany because she just adds a little something to it. I don't know what, but we're gonna find out today. But
Oh, okay. Thanks. Thanks. I hope that's a good thing.
no, it is. It is. I'm just joking. You can't take jokes now.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
so I'm live in LA, and you're live where, Tiffany?
Well, back in Chicago, Chicago
Oh, okay.
area.
See, I didn't even know
Yep.
that. Okay, you in Shy
Yep.
Town.
Yep.
Okay, the Shy.
Yep.
All right.
Before I take off again, so I'm taking off next weekend.
Where you going?
I'm glad you asked. I am going to Incentive Live in Puerto Rico. I'm pumped. I'm excited.
Incentive Live in Puerto Rico. Oh, okay. I
I'm
didn't even know you're
pumped about
going.
it.
Okay, good,
I,
good for you.
I you did too. You did too. I
Tiffany,
told you about
I
it.
have a life outside this, but maybe hour that we do on Monday, so I don't remember everything that's going on in your life. Okay.
I told you. All right, fine, 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 fine.
Okay,
But
well,
you know
no,
what?
that
No,
sounds good. That sounds good.
I'm excited. I just completed my appointment request, so we'll see who I match up with. There's quite a few people that I'm looking forward to meeting that I don't know, and then there's a sprinkle of people that I do know. So I'm excited. And also, I want to mention, shout out to is it so Colleen? Do you know Colleen of Hard Rock?
Colleen of Hard Rock.
Yeah,
Hard
yeah,
Rock
yeah, yeah,
where?
yeah.
Hard Rock in
Hard
Atlantic
Rock
City?
Hotels.
Oh,
Yeah, but
okay.
she's the
She's like
I
the.
think she's the global salesperson, so she oversees all of them for
Hmm.
the Midwest region.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. You met her in Atlantic City, right? Did you have a
Okay,
meeting
maybe
with her?
so. Maybe so.
Anyway, she reached out and said, "Hey, would you like to go to dinner?" And shout out to suppliers who reach out prior, because I love a good meal. I love to be wined and dined, but at the same time, that keeps people top of mind for you. So
That's
she was
true.
the only one to do that as a supplier, and I'm actually looking forward to catching up. She invited a few other planners, and we're gonna have dinner. And it's just something nice when you go to these events alone and you don't know what to expect, and now you can have a meal with someone. So shout out to Colleen for actually, doing that. I wish more suppliers would do that. What are you laughing at? I'm serious.
You're funny, but no, that is good.
Serious
That's good.
though.
That's good. I don't think I ever been invited to a dinner before. I don't think I have. I really
Oh,
don't think I
see.
have. So I'm hating. I'm kind of
Mm,
hating over here. I guess that's what it is.
that should tell you something. You don't get it. You don't get dinner invites.
No,
What?
I don't. And not to say I would even take them anyway, because you know what? It all depends on when you're coming in too. You tend to come
Yeah.
in like 2 days earlier. You know what I mean? I come in the day of, so I'm hitting the ground running. You know what I mean? Literally, I'm, I'm running.
I can't. Look. I gotta protect my wellness, And I've noticed if I come in, and yeah, I am coming in. I couldn't afford to come in 2 days early because I really wanted to be in Puerto Rico 2 days early. I can only afford one day early because
Okay.
you pay your own hotel when you come in early. Um,
Yes.
so it starts on Sunday. I'm flying in Saturday, and yeah, gonna be all fresh and ready to go. Hit the ground running on Sunday. But yeah,
That sounds good.
yeah,
That
I
sounds good.
agree.
That sounds good. I would take
Gonna be
advantage. I
good.
would take advantage of that. Well, if someone had offered, but and no one's offered,
Okay, suppliers, reach out to Russell next time you see him. Invite him to dinner. Make sure they are vegan friendly
Yeah,
options.
maybe,
All
and
right.
that could be a reason why they don't invite me. Like, he's too hard to please.
Yeah.
That guy, he's too hard to please. And we ain't going doing that. We're not even gonna go
Make
down there
sure he feels inclusive. It's
rabbit hole.
inclusive dinner.
Yeah, they don't.
Invite him
Yeah,
to
I
kid
don't feel
friendly.
inclusive when it comes to meals. I don't feel very inclusive. You know what I mean?
Aww.
But anyway, hey, that's life. But no,
Yeah.
have a good time. I'm actually going to be in not San Diego or Coronado on Sunday. So as you're being in going to Puerto Rico, okay, whoopie doo. I'm going to be in Coronado, okay, doing a fam trip. Boom, there you go, and going to
See?
A Dodger and a Padre game. We're going to be in a suite, okay. There we go.
Okay.
That's what
You
I'm
gonna take
talking about.
pictures? You gonna take pictures for the gram? Are the
Of
kids
course.
still saying the gram?
I, I, I don't know what y'all say. I don't know what y'all
You're gonna
say.
take pictures. I wanna
Oh,
see
definitely gonna
pictures.
take. Oh, definitely gonna take
All right.
photos and
All
videos
right.
and all that stuff. So
Cool.
I'll make sure you'll see all that stuff. Whatever I see, you'll see, and hopefully you do the same thing in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna show everything, but yeah,
Okay, what stays?
absolutely.
What happens in Puerto Rico stays in Puerto Rico? Is that what
Come
you're
on,
saying?
it's Puerto Rico. It is Puerto Rico, and I'm looking forward to pool time. So
Okay, all right.
pool time.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, so what's going on? Because every time we do this, we have a topic, or you have a topic that you want to share with the world and get my take on it or whatever. So, what is your topic today?
So it's funny too because I'm starting to when things kind of arise and pop up. I always be like, "What would Russell think about this?" So this is why I come to you with these things. And one of the things I was thinking about last week is, while I'm sourcing these, multiple workshops at Marriott properties, and you're going through and doing your comparison between venue and venue. One of the things that keeps coming up is how all hotels are just different when it comes to their fees. And what I've noticed is some of these charges are, me personally, are deal breakers. So I wanted to hit you up and ask if, you had your own, personal deal breakers. But one of mine to me, are these unnecessary fees. We're not talking about the standard venue rentals. We're not talking about the F&B. We're not talking about the taxes and all that. We're talking about what was one that got me? You know, an extension of your event. Like if it ended at 9, but if you end at 9:30, you get charged for an additional half hour. And I think it was Russell. It was $250 per every 30 minutes. So now, me sourcing that, I'm like, hey, I know my group is a talker. They're talkers. They like to linger. And I understand the hotel, they want to get people in and out, but that makes me a little nervous, especially if I'm not on site that are we going to get $1,000 bill or a $500 bill because somebody kind of lingered? There's different fees. We had some packages being shipped and there was, I want to say it was between like $50 to $75 a box, and sometimes we're shipping like 10 boxes. So those are little things that I look at, and when it comes to one hotel over the next that's not charging those fees, they look a little bit more attractive to book than the other hotel. So I wonder if these hotels understand that. They understand that, when you're putting together all these different types of fees, you're actually, losing the business that you may have gotten had you not. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Well, first of all, I don't like all the fees, right? But okay, some fees may be necessary, but some of these fees are
Sure.
negotiable as well, right? Where
Sure.
they need to let them know, and they need to let us know that okay, this is the fee, but if there's an issue, meaning if it's going to be, it shouldn't have to come down to, well, is there something I can do if we seem like we're on the fence about booking at that particular hotel, they'll automatically come back to you and say, well, is there something we can do to, to gain your business or whatever? Well, yeah, don't give us all these damn fees. Yeah, that'd be one thing. But sometimes I don't say they plead ignorant, like they don't realize that could be a deal breaker. But sometimes we have to be the ones that come out and tell them, like, hey, just so you know, Hotel A and C don't charge any of these fees. You're the only one that does. And being that my client is cash conscious, they may not choose your hotel based on that. So is there anything you can do with these fees? I mean, if there's because like destination and resort fees, those, if they don't waive those are at least they're at least negotiable, right?
Right.
Parking could be negotiable as well.
Sure.
The valet parking, of course, yeah, that as well. The meeting room setup fees. Um, I mean, they're all negotiable. You know, they're all
Okay, that's
negotiable.
one that kills me though. A meetup's a setting fee. I mean, and here's my thing too. So now I'm going on a deep dive because I understand it's a labor intensive, right? You're setting up a room. But let me ask you, is that fee going to the people setting up the room? I highly doubt it.
I don't know.
I,
We don't. Yeah, as well.
I
Is it union house versus a non-union house? I mean, those
sure.
are if you're in New York, you're not getting out from under those fees because New
Yeah,
York
yeah,
is
yeah.
New York, Chicago, L.A. Those are heavy union cities, and Vegas, those are heavy union towns. So you may not be able to get out from under them. And is it up to us to who gets the money anyway? So bottom
Right,
line is, do we want to pay those fees? We don't want to pay the
right.
fees. We don't care. We shouldn't care who is going to or who's not getting it
I
and this
mean,
and that. It's bottom line is coming out of your client's pocket, and you shouldn't have to pay that, especially if another um, venue in that same destination is not charging. You know what I mean?
right.
That's some of the issues that I've come across.
Well, and that's another thing too, and a good reason of just in general hiring an event professional because being in the market and in the industry, the standard fees, across what the charges are, pretty standard, or if this hotel is just like you said, just the only one on the block charging these random
Yeah.
fees. Now, a person booking on their own, setting up a meeting on their own, may not know that. And so now they're getting hit with all these extra fees. And it's like, you know what? I know you were being cautious of not, booking or having an event professional, but now you're paying for it and with these extra fees. So,
Exactly. Some people may think
you
that's the
know,
norm. Some people that aren't as
right,
experienced may think that's the norm, and they just go ahead and pay that.
right.
you're, you're absolutely right. So yeah, so that's another reason why you should hire an event professional. Because they've worked with some of these hotels before. They know the drill. They know what to ask for. They know what's negotiable and what's non-negotiable. They know the
Right.
difference between union versus non-union. A lot of people don't even think about that. They're like, everything's straight across the board. No, is it a union hotel versus a non? Is it a brand versus independent? I mean, it depends on all that stuff. So, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good point. Good point. There you
I
go.
love it.
Yeah.
You know what I do like, and I get it, fees are inevitable, right? But I do like when it's listed. If I do have to pay a fee, like you're referencing parking. I mean, there's no getting away with usually with parking. But I love to see discounted. I love to see that, hey, the regular people pay this, but because you're a group, you pay this. I
Exactly.
love when everything says discounted because, when you're doing group business, you're you're bringing in a multiple, right, of people. So you should get rewarded by, having some type of
You
discount
would
on,
think so. You would think so if you're bringing
hey,
X amount of people here. They're eating. They're doing all these things. They're hitting your restaurant. They're hitting your whatever gift shop or whatever other stuff that you have inside
yeah,
your hotel. I mean, all that stuff should matter. I mean, I've seen, places or planners where they would add up all the stuff. Like they're going to spend X amount of dollars in this outlet, that outlet, at the gift store. They would have a kind of a total of what they spent in the last hotel and what this hotel what they're gonna what this group is expected to spend at this one based on their
mm-hmm,
history. So remember, history is huge as well. Like, so keep in touch or keep track of the amount that you spend. All those different things matter. So instead of just coming here just with we did 200 room nights and this is comes out to $200,000. Well, no, add the meeting space, add the AV chart, all this stuff, parking, all that stuff, because it's the total dollar amount. It's not just one thing or two things. It's the entire dollar amount, that the entire spend. So that can go from $200,000 to now you're talking about half a million. I'm just throwing it out there, but it could.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought about that, keeping track, and think about the spend outside the event. I remember conferences where we're at the bar and we're shutting down, and the entire group,
Yeah.
is having drinks and dinner, and it's so funny too. It was on a weekday where the bartender admitted, he was like, "This is my best day of the month." So we don't really. Yeah, that's really good to point out, because you really don't think about the after effects that are outside the actual meeting, actual event too. So, yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, we need to, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of planners don't
Right.
look at it like that. They only look at the meeting itself, like what is
Right.
entailed in that meeting. They don't think about all the extra, outside of
Mm-hmm.
them, because you still have a captive audience for the most part. And a lot of hotels don't look at it like that. They don't look at like, okay, we got five other restaurants here. They may go to there, right? They need to be
Yeah.
tracking those people, tracking this group, just to see
Okay.
exactly what the entire spend is.
When you say they, who are you talking about? The individual, like, meeting planner, the host, or the actual venue to keep track of, their
I'm talking about
peak of?
both. I'm talking about both.
Yeah.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about both because it's good that the hotel internally they know what this total spend for this group was, and it's also
Mm-hmm.
good for the meeting planner to know because they can take that same amount that same information to the next one. Like this is what we spend at this hotel. Okay, and they can call up
Right.
that hotel and check on the history of everything.
Sure.
Right? That's why history is important. That we keep a tally of what our spend is, because we go into another group. We're not going to another hotel with maybe the same group. Maybe the group has gotten bigger, whatever it is. But they
Yeah.
need to know that as well, because then that way these things, maybe these meeting room setup fees, this the all this other stuff can maybe go away because they know they're going to get X amount of dollars, total dollars, for that one group. So
Yeah, you got more of a leg to stand on and a claim. Russell, look at you. I like that idea a lot. I'm gonna start paying attention. I'm gonna start tallying people. You going to the spa? How much you spending at the spa? So,
yeah, those things make a
no,
difference.
oh, seriously. And for people like me who come in early, that counts too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
That
yeah. You come in
counts.
early. Yes,
That
exactly. All of it
Interesting.
matters, and we need to make sure we're keeping track of all of that. Because, like I said, the more that you come, the more ammunition you have coming in, the
Mm-hmm.
more, like I said, likely that some of this valet parking fees, room setup fees, early check-in, check-out
Right.
fees, what's the other one? Resort fees and all that. Maybe that'll go away, or maybe at least be minimized, and you don't have to ask for it. You know what I mean? So, but then again,
Yeah, but
even
I'll
before you
ask
get
for
to
it.
that, okay, I understand. But even before you even get to that stage where they're sending the contract or a proposal, let them know some of these things, some of your hot buttons. The hot buttons could be the destination fees or the mandatory valet parking fees or whatever it is. Say, hey, in my last property, we didn't pay this, or this was paid. It was a minimum. We paid the minimum amount or whatever. We negotiated this, so they know that going into it, instead of us playing this cat and mouse game where we're sitting
Oh
back and
yeah.
waiting for it to come, and then knowing damn well that's our hot buttons before. Let them know now.
Right.
That's a client hot button that they don't want to pay. They're not saying they won't pay, but they don't want some ridiculous amount of money they got to pay for freaking parking or these destination fees that can kind of go up and go down or whatever. And what is included in that destination fee? I need to know what's
Oh,
included in this.
same. Because it needs to be beyond. Okay, destination fees is a whole different thing, because it. So you're talking about hot buttons. That's my hot button, because it needs to be beyond toll free calls. What is that? What does that even mean? And
I
Wi-Fi.
don't want to even
Like,
call them from that damn hotel anymore.
destination fees are so outdated, because they still include. I promise you, I go in the room and I look, and it says free local calls, and I'm like, come
Who's
on,
picking up that damn phone?
who
Other than
is
to
picking up the
call,
phone?
other than maybe call the front desk, give me a damn
I
wake up
mean,
call. Who even does that? Who even does a wake up call
yeah,
anymore?
let's get rid of these. And so, but in in their defense, I mean, I get some of these destination fees. I'd be like, oh yeah, that's worth it. What was it? I can't remember, but something
Okay, well, let me
included the
see.
destination fee. I know a lot of hotels, they'll include things like,
The
um,
Wi-Fi sometimes.
no, don't do that. Like, that's Wi-Fi needs to be free. At this point, it is 2025. I can get free Wi-Fi at the Chicago Park District. You don't get to claim Wi-Fi in your destination fee.
I'm just
I
telling
guess
you,
one of the
man.
destination fee was, chauffeured, transportation within 5 miles. Um, what else? Oh, I think they were doing like a wine reception or cookies and things like that. Okay, I just feel like it needs to be juicy. If you're gonna charge a destination fee, make it juicy. Make it include some really good goodies.
You're right.
I'm gonna go
You're
back to,
right.
yeah. But
You're
other than
right.
that, destination fees, yeah, no. Early check-in and late check-out, that's a button for me. Look, we're bringing in business. We have a group. If it's available, let them have late checkout. Like, don't fuss about late checkout. So
So
usually,
basically, well, a lot of that stuff is based on, and I some of it I get is based on what they have coming in after your group leaves, or
sure.
what they have, or if they set on this amount of rooms coming in, then all of a sudden you guys are checking out early. So, which means they can't charge you another full day, right? So I understand that part of it. I understand that part, but it still needs to. That's another negotiation thing that people need to do. If you're checking out
Well,
early, well, and they've already counted that money because that's what they look at. It's all about revenue, right? So if this group is supposed to be here for 4 days and then half of them check out after 3 days, well then that's revenue that I'm not getting, that the hotel's not getting, that we counted on. So they have to recoup something because you promised that they were going to get this. So now you're saying they're not. So I understand part of, you got to look at that as well. Okay.
so you're saying a fee for early checkout? Is it that, in your experience, is it even that much for it to account? I mean, if you got a hundred
Yes.
group and 50 of them are checking out early, really? I'm thinking
Yes.
it's
Do that over a
me.
year. That 50 people check out. Do that over a month. Do that
Really?
over a quarter. I mean,
Hmm.
come on now.
Okay.
That's how hotels think like that. That's how. I mean, it's all about revenue. It's all about making revenue. And you say you're going to give us X amount of revenue, and you're saying now all of a sudden they're going to check out early. Well, that go. Now they're not getting that amount of money that they said that they thought they're going to get. That you promised them that they're going to get. So why wouldn't they
Yeah.
want to charge you something? And they're not charging you the full amount. They may be charging you half or $50 or
Yeah.
whatever. What if the rate is $200? They only charge you 50. You got out for
Okay.
$150.
All right. All right. I hear you. See,
See,
I
I
I
gotta speak
have
from
a
both
hard
sides.
time
See, I gotta
identifying.
speak from both sides here, right? You think that I'm just gonna be on your side? No, I gotta be on. I gotta be in the middle. I gotta be in the middle,
Well,
lady.
just so you know, I never want to check out early. If anything, I want to check in early and I want to check out late.
We know you're like that, but we're talking about your group. We're not talking about you.
Can I tell you, if you let me check in early and check out early, I'm going to remember you and I want to come back. Shout out to the Margaritaville Resort in New York City, where I came in at 8 o'clock in the morning and I said, "Can I get my room?" And they're like, "Absolutely not." Like, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. But they still got me in my room at 10 a.m. They told me to go get some breakfast somewhere. So I'm fine going back because I know everything is about availability. So it's nothing that I feel should be that you think you're entitled to. But it goes a long way if you're like, hey, you know what, this room's available, and not charged. Because I know Vegas is notorious. Oh, they make me want to cry. The fees that they charge for early check-in. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll sit on the streets before I pay
Oh, you're
this.
speaking from some serious experience right there, aren't you?
Yeah, yes. I told you I try to get in early when I can, but all this stuff I say, it goes in the contract, and it. Sometimes it's a make it or break it deal. Sometimes it's not. But what I will say is the hotels that do weigh what they can and work with you are the hotels that we like to go back to. We like to have repeat business from. I mean, you talk about historical data. Are you asking whether we do this event, you know, quarterly, annually? Are you asking for our repeat business? Because, if you work with us on these fees, why should I go somewhere else? Why should I have to go through the haggling of a different hotel where I know, hey, they're not charging a destination fee over here? I
You're
mean, that's a lot of savings.
you're absolutely right. It's a two-way street. They should be
Yeah.
asking, "Do you have any other business?" And you should be letting them know that, "Hey, this is one of many." You know what I mean? They come to this area, 5 times a year. You know what I mean? They need to know
Right.
that, and they need to that should change the way they negotiate too. They should change everything,
Sure.
pricing, everything. If they know they have potentially an opportunity to get 5 programs instead of just one, wouldn't they
Right.
change their mindset? Wouldn't they change their pricing structure and all that stuff? I would. I would if I knew I had that potential to get 5 instead of just one. So,
Right.
yeah, but if they don't ask and we don't tell, then shame on both parties. So both parties,
Yeah.
we always talk about, well, it's a partnership. Well, if one partner doesn't know the whole program or what you're trying to do, then there's a breakdown. So we just have to make sure that we're communicating all that to our so-called partners. Hey, I'm Russell of Hotels. This is Tiffany. We're on with this is Daily Check-In. So we're talking about unnecessary fees, like those hidden fees. Especially if you're a group, you do meeting planning or event planning or hotel site selection. We're talking group specific. Group
Yeah.
specific. Those hidden fees that can be deal breakers, and and how to get around it, and which fees are going to be there to stay and which ones are negotiable and all that stuff. So if you're just not coming in, that's fine. You can rewind this. This will be there forever. You can go back and there's probably some good tidbits of information there. So
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tiffany.
What I will say is I find a lot of hotels are flexible with waiving or discounting, because I remember, looking at the contract, and shipping fees is a big one. I'm like, oh, shipping fees. And they're like, oh, no, it's okay. So I find it interesting that they put it in there to see who's going to pay it. And then as soon as you give a little bit of resistance, they're like, no, 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 we'll take it off. So like I keep saying, another reason to hire a professional planner, because that's one of the things that's always on my list. Waive those shipping fees.
Yeah.
Like, you're already receiving packages. What are you charging me for? So definitely, like you said, what fees can you negotiate and what fees are here to stay? I think that's an important distinction.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, because that can make or break your budget, whatever budget you have, and then if you're paying for
Yeah.
these things and you don't realize that they're charging you, you
Right.
don't know these things are negotiable, then there you go. So that's why another reason what Tiffany just said: make sure you hire an event professional, a meeting professional, a hotel site selection professional who knows these things. Because why they know these things? Because they dealt with this stuff before over the years, right?
Right.
And they know every hotel is not the same, but they know the questions to ask. So
Right.
that's the thing. So
And go through that contract with a fine through tooth comb. When I go through contracts, I give myself some, uninterrupted, distractions, because I'm going line by line, little by little, to making sure that I'm not missing anything when it comes to that. And then, the daily event, you're charged with, like you said, those hidden fees. They're not hidden; they were right there in the contract.
yeah,
So reading your contract is key.
that's true. And if you don't understand what the verbiage or whatever, make sure you ask that sales manager. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes the sales managers don't even know what this stuff even means.
You're right. You're right.
Which is
And
sad,
you can
but it is what it is.
you can always counter that contract. You can always redline things. We do it all the time. I mean, even if you don't understand it, you're like, I'm crossing it out. See what happens. I mean, you can always do that. But if you don't understand every single part of that contract, do not sign it.
That's
Don't
correct.
sign it.
That is correct. I've seen contracts that have what are those things called? What is it called? What is it called? What is it called? Um, Damn, I can't think of what it's called now. I'll come up with
What
it in
is
a
it
minute.
about?
I'll come up with it in a
Force
minute.
majeure.
No, it's not a force. It's not a force majeure, but that's a good one.
Isn't it? I was
Um,
like, what does that mean?
what is it called? Gosh, it has to do with porterage fee. A porterage fee.
Oh.
Like a porterage fee is okay. So my experience dealing with porterage fees on the hotel side, it's for tour and travel groups, right? Groups, international
Mhm.
group travel, whatever. So the bellmen are responsible for taking the bags off the bus and delivering those bags to their rooms. They put them right outside the
Mhm.
door, right? Well, there's an automatic porterage fee for that. It can be $8 in. It can be $16 round trip. $8 in, $8 out, right? Okay, so it'd be $16 basically per
Per person.
room that they're gonna charge, right?
Yeah.
Um, so that's for a certain market segment group. That's like for a tour and travel group only for the most part. So I've been through contracts for corporate people that they handle their own bags. They don't need help with that. They never ask for help, with their bags. They carry their own shit for the most part, and it was in this contract. So someone asked me, one of my clients asked me to look over the contract. Hey, can you just look over the contract, make sure, and I do things, sometimes for free because that's a client of mine. So it doesn't matter if it's something that I work with her on or not. I'm still going to go through it. If she asks me, I'm going to go through it. So I went through it and found this, right? And it was a difference between if she had signed that contract with that porterage fee in there, it was a difference. I'm saying it's about $5,000. It was like 5,000 extra dollars because it was a substantial
Wow.
size group. So, and I caught it, and she goes, "Oh my God, I didn't know that. I'm gonna have them take that out right away." But those are the things that some people they don't know, they don't understand what it is. They're just used to just signing things and they keep it moving. But that could have been like $5,000 that she didn't have to pay. That she was gonna be. Believe me, it didn't apply to that group. But if she would have signed it, they would have charged her that extra $5,000. So
So are you saying they would have charged like just mandatory, whether the people used it or not, whether people
yeah,
carried their own
yeah. If
vaccine
it's
or
in the
not?
contract, yes. If it's in the
That's
contract, that's what's
crazy.
gonna happen. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
people
that's
got to
another
pay that.
example of how you're saving fees working with someone who knows. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I can't afford you." I'm like, "Well, you can't afford not to because you're gonna pay
Exactly.
more." So that's a good catch. Good, yeah, good to know.
There you
A lot of these
go.
fees. A lot of
There
these
you
fees.
go. Lots of
But I guess
fees.
the summary of this, or just to kind of put in this perspective, is negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always,
That's the key.
always these fees first, and then if you can't decide whether that fee is worth going forward with that venue, or is the next venue across the street around the block going to be a better decision because of the cost savings?
There you go. Only you know your client or you know yourself. So if money's an issue, yeah, go with the hotel. If everything is the same for the most part, other than the fees that they're trying to charge, well, guess what? I wouldn't be going to that hotel.
Right,
That's it.
right.
That's it.
And then, when the sales manager asks why didn't we get the business, being transparent and saying this is why. So hopefully in the
Exactly.
future they know, oh, we need to evaluate this. We need to know if this is really worth losing business over.
Exactly. And businesses, I mean, everybody wants every piece of business coming in their area, right? And some people
Right.
say, oh, well, as long as it stayed in the area, that's all that matters. As long as it stayed in the destination, that's no. They want that business just like anyone else does. So,
Right.
so yeah. So no, let them know this is the reason why you lost the business. It's
Mm-hmm.
because of this. It came down to this. This was the only thing you charged for this. The other hotel did not. Boom.
Yeah.
There you go. So, because like I said, some of these hotels were like, well, you should have let us know and we could have. No, no, you should know. This is another thing. Hotels should know their comp set. The hotels within their that they compete
Yes.
with,
Yes.
right? They should know what they're
Competitive
charging or what
research.
they're not
Yeah.
charging, right? And shame on you if you don't know that. If you don't know they're charging for certain things and what that charge
Right.
is, right? So, that's not a good excuse, right? Well, you should have given us a chance to. No, we should not have. You should know this already.
Right.
So,
Agreed.
there you go.
Agreed.
There you go.
Absolutely. I talked about this in a previous live too. When you are negotiating, and so we briefly talked about it earlier. Don't waste people's time. Don't negotiate, and they finally come down, and you be like, "No, I'm gonna go somewhere else." So when I start negotiating, it's about an 85%, 90% chance that this is who I want to land with. Can we meet in the middle somewhere? So I say that to say I don't want planners to have I don't know, a bad experience, or have leave these sales managers with a bad experience of planners when they start to negotiate and then they just leave the business. Like, if you're going to negotiate, be all in. Okay. Now, if it's a place that I'm just not considering, I'm probably going to be like, thanks, but no thanks. And you're not going to hear from me until you ask me, the status report, and I'll tell you, hey, I went somewhere else. But if I'm constantly communicating with you, what about this? What about this? What about this? This means I'm chopping at the bits. I'm trying to land with you. Meet me at least halfway. So that's something that I don't like wasting people's time. I don't like my time wasted. We're in this fast paced industry that I don't have weeks to sit on answers and things like that. So when I negotiate, I'm ready to, if we can meet where we need to meet, we're signing that contract.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point because there's some planners that will waste people's time. They won't they'll stop communication, and that's not good either. I mean, let
Right.
them know that you're moving on with other hotels. You're not considering them anymore, and that's okay to do that. At this
Yeah.
time, we're not considering your hotel, but should anything change, we'll circle back with you. I mean, something. Don't just ghost people and and then people are wondering they're sending you all these emails and all this stuff, and they appreciate when you do tell them when you're upfront and say, hey, just so you know, we're not considering your hotel anymore. They may ask, well, which hotels are you considering? And it's okay to tell them who you're considering. I mean, that's one thing that would get me they would, well, we're not going to tell you. Why aren't you going to tell me? I mean, so I know what to do better next time, or who my competition was, or
Well, I
whatever.
think that's a better question though, because so here's my thing, and I get it. So and it's so funny. I always wonder why people ask, like, where are you going? Because to me, it's like, are you going to try to change my mind? So I'm always like, what difference does it make? But I think better questions are, what could we have done differently, or what influences your decision? But if you're just like, hey, who did you go with? I'm like,
Well, you want to know who
why?
you lost out to. Is it someone
But
down the
but
street, across the
but why
street?
though? Why? I mean, the biggest question is, okay, if I tell you, the
That's
place
a
next
two-part
door.
question. You can still ask. You can still ask why. What could we have done better? You still can
That's
ask
what I
that.
want you to lead with.
That you
I
can
don't want anyone. Who'd you
still
go with?
you
Who'd you
can
go with?
still ask that question, answer that question. But
Yeah,
yeah, salespeople want to know who they lost to because
sure.
who's the competition? I mean, who do we lose to? And then that way I know, okay, oh, that hotel. Maybe it's not the same caliber as my hotel. Okay, maybe I know, oh, okay, now I know a little bit something about this group. Oh, we don't want this group anyway. If they went with that hotel.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, that's how people. Hey, that's what people think. Okay, that's how
I
people
get
think.
it, but
They
look,
chose
all
a
I'm saying
select
is add,
service hotel over my full service hotel. Okay, well they're
yeah,
conscious. They're
and the price.
cost
Yeah, yeah,
conscious.
yeah.
Okay, so I get it now. I understand they're open to. Now I know who the competition was. I didn't know all the hotels that were involved in this, so now I know.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
as a salesperson, you should ask. You should never not
Right.
ask.
I'm just saying, add to it. Don't just
Yeah,
hit
yeah.
me with the one
They can
line.
they can
Who'd
add
you go
to it.
with?
They should add
But
to it.
yeah,
You're right. You're right.
yeah, and sometimes it comes down to. So somebody asked me that, and I said, hey, we're going with someone who is more city uh, located, and this hotel happened to be more towards the airport. So I try to give that information like specifically, but at the same time, I do think you need to, frame your question so I can give you some of that, that real information. And then a lot of times for me, because I'm doing multiple bookings, I don't think people understand this. Sales managers don't understand you're not the only kid on the block. And my inbox is, it's crazy with maybe about 5 or 6 different communications. And I say that to, get to the point, give me what you need from me. So that's what I say. So sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'll answer that. Sometimes it's not a priority for me. But if you want to keep that relationship going, please say, hey, I hope we can get your business in the future. Or, hey, oh, you know what? I know them. I used to work there. Oh, this will be good. Put a little finesse to it so we can continue that relationship, because maybe it didn't fit for this particular program. But for me, I'm a Cancer. I don't forget things. So, look, I will, if we had a good relationship, I want to bring you business in the future. So that's my point to that too.
Yeah,
So,
you should always
continue to
keep those
finesse that
communication points open.
relationship.
Yeah, you didn't get that one
Yeah.
piece of business, but that doesn't mean you won't get the next. But
Yeah.
you'll never know, you'll never get it if you don't ask questions. You don't, like you said, ask that question. Um, what could I have done better to get this business? In the future,
Right.
what do you think I should focus on? I mean, yeah, I mean those are questions that they should ask, and that tells them that yeah, you want another shot, and yeah, this is a relationship. This is not just a one-off kind of thing, right? So no, that
Yes.
that makes complete sense. That
Oh,
makes
and speaking of which, I mean, you said it, great, but I like the closing email. I like a little, hey, we're hoping to get your business in the future, because now I feel important. Thank you. So, because I've had a lot of times where it's like, hey, we decide not to go with you, and it's like, oh, crickets. Like, oh, okay, so that's it.
yeah. Like, what do I need to
That's
say?
it.
What do
That's
I need
it.
to say
Well, no,
now?
I love for the more times than not, I love a sales manager to be like, hey, consider us in the future. It does not have to be a long,
Yeah,
monologue.
you're
It's
absolutely
literally two
right.
sentences. And I
You're
don't
right.
care if they were copy and paste. I still feel good
Yes,
that you
yeah,
still want my
yeah.
business.
You are absolutely right. Salespeople need to do a better job of responding to emails. You get the business or not, especially if you didn't
Yeah,
get the business, you need to make sure
right.
that, oh, thank you so much for getting back to me. Maybe we'll get it next time. Let us know if you're ever in the area again. We love to bid on your next program or whatever the heck it is. Let's keep in touch. That's always a good one. So yeah, just because you didn't get it doesn't no sour grapes.
I
No peed in your
know. I know.
cereal.
Don't take it
You know.
personal either.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not you, Sally. It's your hotel. Like, be cool. Like, it was nothing personal at you. We did not go to high school together, and now I'm like getting back at you. And no,
Oh
like
my
it's just
God.
it's
Oh
just a decision. So
my
sometimes it's like that. But
Oh, that's funny.
yeah,
That's
I
funny.
like how sales managers get that long term relationship, because sometimes even me, I feel bad if I don't give you the business right away. We had a good time. Maybe I met you at an event. I tried to do
Yeah, you
something.
drank. Yeah, you
And
drank there. You drank off of them. You ate off of them. Now all of a sudden you're not giving them the business. Yeah, I
we,
bet you feel some
we,
kind of
we
way at
were
that point, don't you?
whining, we were dining.
Yeah, yeah. They
Like,
took me here. They took me there. They gave me a
now
ride to
I'm
the
blacklisted.
airport. And now I'm not gonna do business. The hotel sucks. So, and I,
Oh my God, don't make me feel bad. Do not make me feel bad.
I can't bring the business. That hotel sucks. They wine and dine me and this and that. Yeah, believe me, planners talk. Planners do talk. They do
Thank
discuss,
you.
hotels that maybe did not work for them.
Right. And let me
It is
just
what it
say
is.
this, speaking of which, making sure that you're consistent with any plan that you come across, because, like you said, planners talk. And I remember I was in Denver on a fam trip, and we're looking at this hotel, and this planner I didn't even know. She was like, "We try to do business with them," and yada yada yada. And all I hear is that negative. I've never met with them, but it doesn't make me want to initiate any type of
Yeah,
contact
yeah,
because of this
yeah.
data planner that I've never met told me she had a negative experience. So I just want to shout, like you said, we talk. So as a sales manager, whatever you do, it's expounded like 10 times because that planner is going to tell everybody what happened. So, keep that in mind.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely
Yep.
right. All right, Miss Tiffany. I just real quick. I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna switch gears right here for a second. You stay on, but I'm gonna switch gears, meaning another subject, because I want to let people know
Okay.
that tomorrow on air with Russell of Hotels, that live hospitality talk show that everyone's talking about, is gonna be on with a guest, and my guest is. I'm gonna switch scenes here. You won't be able to see Tiffany, but you'll see me, I think. So this is tomorrow. This is show number 299, Countdown to 300. Mr. David Blansfield, EVP with North Star Meetings Group, will be on tomorrow. He'll be my guest on tomorrow. So we're going to talk about meetings, the state of the meetings, what's going on, international versus domestic meetings. What about the political climate? Has that changed meetings here in the states? I don't know, but we're going to ask David about that tomorrow. So make sure you guys check that out tomorrow. Same platforms, YouTube and LinkedIn, tomorrow at 1 o'clock PST. That means Pacific Standard Time. Okay, so just make sure we check in, or even if you can't be on there live on YouTube or LinkedIn, you can go back and check it out on the replay. It'll still be there. But tomorrow, Mr. David Blansfield will be my guest. Now this has been like a month and about 2 months in the making. I see him at these North Star events, and I've always asked him probably for the last couple years, can he, are you interested in being on the show? He'd always say, yeah, let me know, send me a note, let me know, I'll get it on my schedule, whatever. And it was more me than him not doing it, and I said, you know what? I keep saying this to him. Let me just send him a note. So what I did on LinkedIn, send him a note and say, hey, I have some dates for you for on air with Russell of Hotels, and he was like, I'm in. Okay, all right. I'll give you a couple of dates. Because he was supposed to be on there maybe about a month ago, but something happened where he couldn't make it. His schedule didn't permit. So, but then he reached out to me again a couple of days ago and say, hey, I wanted to circle back, make sure you were still interested in having me on. I'm like, of course. I mean, I'm waiting for you now at this point. So yeah, so David's gonna be on tomorrow. Once again, executive VP for North Star Meetings Group will be on tomorrow. We'll talk about the state of the industry, the state of meetings, and the ones in the U.S. versus the ones international. What's going on with like I said, the political climate. Has it changed anything with meetings? Are meetings down? Are they up? We don't know. Maybe specific meetings. Maybe it's corporate versus government versus sports or whatever. I don't know. We're gonna find all that out. I got a list of questions. I don't let anyone know what the questions are that I ask, but you just best believe it's going to be interesting. So just make sure you guys tune in tomorrow and check it out. So there you go. There you go. Anyway, what parting words do you have, Miss Tiffany?
Ooh, I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm gonna be there with my popcorn.
Very good.
That,
That sounds good.
that's I know. I was like, shoot, you got me stunned with that announcement. So I think we did a good wrap up. We did a good wrap up of negotiating fees and
I think so.
communicating with your sales manager. So good topic, like always. I feel like that was juicy and information rich. So appreciate the discussion.
Of course, of course. I appreciate the topic. So there you go. So you're gonna tune in tomorrow and make sure
I
if you
am.
have questions at all, you can ask your questions. Make sure it's on
I'm going to
mute.
turn in live so I can ask some questions and comments. You know me, I want to get in that comment section. So, what do we're on YouTube with the comments?
YouTube for the comments.
All
YouTube for the
right.
comments.
I'll
And
be
next
there.
Monday, I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to do this next Monday because you'll be gone too, right? So you're gone as well as
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
So maybe
We'll both be gone.
we'll
See
table
how
it
that
until
works
the
out.
16th. Yeah, we'll table it
And then,
until the 16th.
And then we can come back and compare notes about our experiences. Mine
There
in
you
Puerto
go.
Rico, you're in Coronado. So, yeah,
There you go. I love it. We'll
good
do it.
times.
All right.
Good
Well,
times.
anyway, you guys have a great day. Thank you so much, Miss Tiffany, for coming on. We always appreciate you. So Mondays are devoted to Tiffany. So just make sure you guys check it out on Mondays. This is a daily check-in with Tiffany and Russell of Hotels, right? But I let her drive the ship. Okay, she actually gets to drive the ship. Okay, so on
Thank you.
Mondays only. The other day she ain't on here. Okay, we don't see her. We
I'll
don't hear
take
about
it.
her anymore. So anyway, that is it. Once again, tomorrow on air with Russell of Hotels. That's Tuesday. It's every Tuesday. It will be show number 299. My special guest tomorrow is Mr. David Blansfield with North Star Meetings Group. Okay, he's the executive VP. We're gonna talk about everything. You know what is this? Where did North Star start? Where did he come from? I don't know. We're about to find all that stuff out, right? So anyway, that is it. You guys have a great day. Thank you again, Miss Tiffany, and as always. Peace.